Okay, so you've been on YouTube, you've been online, you've learned a lot about the lies that you've been fed all your life. You realize that all along you knew, on some level, you were looking the other way, you were playing the game. This is a deep psychological awakening that is occurring here. The facts involving 9/11, involving what is occurring in terms of human rights in the world today, is a part of this awakening. These facts help to trigger an awakening through the intellect on the surface level of consciousness. Now, wouldn't the powers that be, seeing this awakening, want to come in and cut it off on a level and say, okay, this far but no further? Isn't that what religions do? People are looking for the answers. Along comes a religion. Oh, we'll help you. We'll inspire you. No, they can. They can. But once you get to a certain level and it's like, okay, no further. Now, you need to look at this way. We can't allow you to believe in that. This is true. This is not. These are the things you need to do. These are the things you shouldn't. And so it'll cut you off on that level of awakening. That's why I've always had more of an interest in Buddhism than other religions, because arguably it's not a religion, because it's not trying to tell you how to think and what to believe as such. I'm not going to name any, but I mean, religions serve a purpose. They help. Once you get to a certain level of awakening, they'll cut you off. And isn't that what someone like Alex Jones is essentially doing for this awakening? Coming in with the facts, steady with the base level emotions of anger, frustration, rage, and fear that he is constantly generating to his listeners or his viewers. And some people that I have a lot of respect for have made a statement that I'm not sure is slanted on their part or just thoughtless. And that is that if you are afraid of what Alex Jones has to say, then you're afraid of the information, and that's your problem. Now, that's not true, because he radiates emotion. That all impacts you. We're all connected on some deep level. It's what Jung called the collective unconsciousness. He is making an impact in the world. And you could say it's positive for the information he's getting off, and that's true. I'm thankful for him, because I used to listen to him a while ago, maybe a year ago now. I learned a lot from Alex Jones, and a lot of us have. But he's like a religion in that way. Very helpful, but only to this level. You go beyond that level, he'll call you nuts. A lot of people, like David Icke, for example, is a perfect example. He's someone who encourages you to open your mind and to grow, to expand. He doesn't try to limit you. And he's the kind of person that Alex Jones has in the past put down and said, I think he could be an agent or something. And it's true that he has interviewed men like David Icke and Michael Tessarian and different people with these other views, but he always stays on the same level. He claims that he's a Christian, but he certainly never goes into anything spiritual. He refers to himself as a spiritual person, but he's far from spiritual. As I've said before, he's very ego-centered. I'm not saying he's a jerk, I'm saying he's centered in the ego self. He has no real concept of spiritual awareness. So, what I'm trying to say here is, how sure are you that you know the good guys and the bad guys clearly? It looks to me, it seems very clear, especially in the United States, that certain powers that be are trying to create a violent reaction from the public. You'll have people protesting peacefully, and it will come a riot police, as if they were rioters and not protesters. It's begging for a violent backlash. Now, Alex Jones, although very credible for the information that he puts out, although not always accurate and correct, but usually with the information, has some problems with credibility in my mind. Because, first of all, he's an actor. And having been an actor myself, I'm pretty good at spotting an actor. I'll have one video, I'll find it for you, put it in the sidebar, where he cries crocodile tears very clearly. Why would he have to pretend to cry about the horrible things he's talking about, child abuse and whatnot? Why would he have to pretend to cry for that? He acts like he's totally sincere, totally legitimate, and it's an act, it's a performance. People call him with legitimate questions, as any ordinary Joe would, asking questions that he'd have to expect people to ask. And then he flies off the handle and calls them everything in the book and cuts them off. He has a political agenda, clearly. But what is his political agenda? How does he get in the hotel where the Bilderberg group are having a meeting? Very convenient. How does Alex Jones do that? There's a lot of things that just don't add up with him. And I'm not saying Alex Jones is bad. Don't watch Alex Jones. I'm not trying to say that. It's good for information, but like I say, like a religion, it'll help you, but only to this point. You want to rise up in your understanding and your growth of consciousness any higher, you have to do that on your own. And Alex Jones is one of those who are serving to cut off the awakening of consciousness on that level, on the level of intellect and base level rage and fear and frustration. There's a big difference between a maverick and a rebel. The rebel is like a teenage boy who's yelling at his father, "I'm going to go to that party, I'm going to go to that party, I'm going to go to that party." And his father says, "No, you're not going to that party, and that's it." "Yes, I am." "No, you're not." So how free is that kid? He's not free, is he? He's rebelling, but he's not free. If he wanted to be free, he'd just walk out the door and go. And I'm not saying that kids should just, defy their parents necessarily. I'm just saying, to use that as an example, that's the difference between a rebel and a maverick. A maverick decides to live his own life as best as he can, to be free. That's a maverick. A rebel is someone who whines and bitches and complains that he's not free. The difference is that in one case you're actually trying to be free, and you're saying no to things, and you're doing things the way you want to do them, and the other you're complaining that you feel like you can't. The difference between a free people and people who are essentially slaves is a difference of marching down the street to where all the big bosses are, the corporate elites, and yelling, "We want freedom, we want freedom, we want freedom," and just walking away and, doing our own thing. That's the difference. Gandhi freed India because he taught the people to say no. The British soldiers were there holding guns, "You're going to do what we tell you to do." And they said no. And so they were free. That's the difference between a rebel and a maverick. Where does rebelling get you? Like the Who said, here comes the new boss, same as the old boss. So where does that get us? Right back to where we started. So please, before you go getting involved in a government-sanctioned war, or a revolution led by men like Alex Jones, please stop and ask yourself, do you really know what you're doing? Do you really understand the war that you're fighting in and the side that you're fighting for? These men who are behind us, who are leading you, how well do you really know them, and how sure are you that you really know what their agenda is? For your sake, for the sake of your soul, for the sake of the world around you, please just ask. Forget me, forget what anyone else is trying to tell you about anything, and stop and just ask yourself, are you sure? Am I sure I know what I'm doing? Because there's a lot of lies, and there's a lot of manipulation, and there's a lot to come out yet.